What's your childhood mystery that you finally solved years later? My dad used to occasionally burst out with this one line of a song. Said Barnacle Bill the sailor only ever that line. When I was 6 or so I asked him why, and he said it was an old drinking song that was absolutely filthy, and I was too young to hear the rest of it. This continued once or twice a year until I was 18. I told him I was an adult now and he could tell me the rest of the song. I distinctly remember him looking up from the newspaper, sighing and folding it, then going, "The truth is I can never remember the rest of the song." And then went right back to reading the newspaper. Your dad wasn't wrong about it being a filthy song. Well, no wonder he couldn't remember the rest, it's so long. That's what she said. Too bad she wasn't talking about you. Said the fair young maiden. Beat me to it. The weird smell that I referred to as a stinky cheese smell were probably a symptom of seizures. I would happen maybe twice a year. It's not really like cheese, it's like a smell that isn't a smell. It's how to even describe it. It was so minor parents disregarded it. I can remember it starting in 2nd grade. I suddenly started having it a lot more as an adult when I hit 28 and got diagnosed 2 years later after symptoms became way more extreme. Makes so much sense now. I also randomly smell this strange, very unique smell that I can't put into words maybe 3 times a year. I've never had a seizure, though, but I've always wondered why this smell happens and comes out of nowhere. I would sometimes try to make it linger by slowing my inhalation, but it always vanished. Still happens, it's been a few months now. Edit. These replies feel like I'm reading Webbed right now, and I'm totally convinced I'm having seizures, and it might be a tumor, oh god. I get this with migraines. However, not to be a downer, the specialist who recommended my MRI and CAT scans did this because, when you smell random things or non-existent things, it can sometimes be a tumor or side effect of another anomaly, hormonal disorder, for example. It can also be nothing. Have you ever smelled and like kind of taste nail polish remover with no reason for it? I've been getting it lately very rarely, but enough to freak me out, so I wanted to see if you guys may have experienced it as well. Having acetone breath can be a sign of diabetes. Same if you taste sweet to others. Oof, I should probably make a doctor's appointment, huh? Growing up I always insisted I liked the mashed potatoes at my grandma's house better than the ones my mom made at home. My grandma once told me it's because she uses a special recipe. I found out last year that my mom hand mashes her potatoes. My grandma just gets the Betty Crocker box. Her special recipe. I was gonna get what she dyes as Betty Crocker. Ouch. I just imagine how that must have been for your mom. Right, what a punch in the gut, you. My grandma makes this excellent key lime pie. She'd make it for holidays and I loved it as a kid. As an adult during quarantine I decided a good use of my time was learning to make it myself, so I bought her recommended ingredients, including a specific brand of key lime juice. I finally ask her for the recipe. She asks, "Did you buy the right brand of juice?" It's the recipe on the bottle. Delicious pie, but utterly ruined the family recipe magic I was ready for. My mom used to call us in for dinner by yelling out the back door from the kitchen. I was in middle school before I realized the screen door was actually called a screen door. This one is hands down my favorite. I'm calling the screen door to my back porch a screen door from now on. I vow to do the same. It will be extra screamy when the hinges are a little rusty. Mine too, still laughing. I imagine a creaky back door when I read screen door. It would definitely fit if the door was incredibly loud as you opened it. When I was really young, me and my siblings would play in my grandparents' yard. My grandfather would tell us to stay away from the skunk hole at the edge of the yard. We lived in South Texas, so this wasn't something out of the ordinary, and we just avoided it like any other animal home. Years later it dawned on me. It was actually the septic tank access. I feel like as a kid I would have been more curious about a skunk hole than a septic tank. Just me? Unless they got sprayed once before. Skunks are definitely one of those things you're only ever curious about once. Not me, that's for sure. We grew up poor, and at the age of 10 my friends were all having these crazy birthday parties with petting zoos, bounce houses, clowns, etc. So my mother, who is very resourceful, decided I would have a sleepover for my 11th birthday. It was great, and we were gonna make ice cream cones. So we got all the stuff out with my mom, and my mother opened up the box of cones, and they were all smashed up. She said that we weren't having regular ice cream, we were having Magic Castle sundaes because the broken ice cream cones resembles the sections of a castle. We all thought this was great and we had them. When my friends went home, they asked their parents to make Magic Castle sundaes. 2 days ago I found out that my mother was getting the past sell-by foods behind the grocery store. They were not expired, just past sell-by date. She had no idea that the cones were brown up until she opened them with us. She thought of the Magic Castle idea quickly, and we all loved it. Just goes to show how stupid kids are, lol. Shows you had a good mom. Also shows that some kids are really appreciative of everything. Can give them ice cream and a rock, and it's like Christmas. It's an avocado. I was watching Star Trek TNG with my dad when someone told Riker to wash his back. When I asked my father why someone would say that to another person, he said so you can smell someone coming up behind you. It wasn't until years later that I understood how easy it was to hear "watch as wash" and how committed my dad was to willfully deceiving his children for personal satisfaction. As a PS here, my brother and I were convinced that he spoke Spanish until we were teenagers. He did not, he simply rattled off a string of Taco Bell items as fast as he could. Haha. My parents were the same. They taught me a lot of made-up words, especially for food items. I'm still realizing at almost 30 that there are made-up words I'm still using, haha. This. One kid wanted cake but not lasagna. I was babysitting him. It was for dinner. So I told him he got a special cake. He got to eat noodle cake, lasagna. His mom checked and I told her the little lie. She laughed. She picks him up. He goes, I ate cake for dinner. I like noodle cake, it's been 2 years. No one's told him that the brown part of bread doesn't contain the nutrients. It's just a more cooked outer layer. My brother lied to me to get me to eat crust when I was a kid. Haha, I was told the crust would make my hair curly, so I would eat it. Haha, I just commented the same thing. My nana used to say this. That's what my grandma used to say. Oh. Yeah, wait a second. That is true for potatoes and apples though, a huge portion of the nutrients is in the skin. Honestly, this is probably less mystery and more misconception. I was arguing with my girlfriend about the potatoes last night. My nana told me the crust would make my hair curly, so I stopped eating it because I did not want curly hair. Joke's on me, genetics don't care about bread crusts. We were told it would give us tiger's teeth. Why that would be desirable? My nana used to tell me the bread crusts would make my hair curly. I have huge gaps in my memories as a child. Like, weirdly inexplicable ones that always felt weird. Not just basic forgetting stuff. I've had a few instances of this happening as an adult as well. Well, turns out I have a dissociative disorder, and that can cause amnesia. Please tell me more. I just posted about this. I remember very little from my childhood and have blanked out large parts of my 20s. I went to a Jay-Z concert and still can't recall being there or the evening. It is very strange. I have many missing years. I have large gaping holes in my memory. Common side effect of depression. Damn. I think I just learned something about myself. Same. Not mine, but my husband's. I hope he doesn't see this BC, then my cover is blown. He said in middle school, there was a time that he'd get pulled out of class to shoot free throws in the gym. Only him. He didn't think this was strange, but didn't understand why he was the only one that got to do that. Turns out, his parents told his teachers he couldn't participate in sex ed. Haha. He must have been really good at sinking free throws. Never had issues with the in and outs. Killer rim jobs, I'm sure. But he never could finish in the lane. Never had a talent for. Well, he wasn't going to get much better sinking anything else. You're either slinging prophylactic handouts or you got a wicked jump shot. Upvoted for Biggie. Plenty of practice playing with himself. Sorry kid, this class won't be important for you. Go shoot some free throws, if only Shaquille O'Neal. John Travolta was actually John Travolta, which really made a lot more sense. Took me till my teens to figure out that my aunt's name wasn't actually Tyreen, but Tia Irene. I'm in my 20s but still call her Tyreen lol. My older brother called our Aunt Lauren Auntie Dwayne as a child cause he sucked at LS, and now all the cousins call her that lmao. I was so sure my parents' family friend Lorraine was called the Rain. No one ever corrected me. Sounds like a name a hippie would give to their child or something. Welcome to Portland.